Dear Ms. Tinagli, dear Irene, thank you very much for being here. Good afternoon. We are very honored that you want to be co-chair of the European Parliamentary Financial Service Forum, together with Isabel Benjumea. And we are looking forward to work with you. But may I ask you first, what motivated you to become chair of the steering committee?
Well, having served as the chair of the Econ Committee for Economic and Monetary Affairs in the past 5 years, I could really appreciate the importance of keeping a dialogue with all the stakeholders, the richness that it brings, putting together different views, different perspectives, discussing topics and issues, because otherwise we risk closing ourselves in the Brussels bubble, but things like this, they really need an ongoing dialogue. So I'm really keen on pushing this dialogue further.
That is very interesting, and I'm very grateful, because for me this platform brings together everybody who's interested in financial services. So not only the industry, not only the MEPs, but also other stakeholders like SME organizations, like consumer organizations. Is there anything more that you want to do to bridge those gaps and bring more people to the table?
Well, I think the important thing is to be focused on the final objective for all of us, which is increasing the prosperity of our economy, right? I mean, financial services are not per se for their own sake, but they are there to serve the economy, to give the opportunity to our firms, to our families, to our communities, to leverage the savings, to put it at good use, and to increase growth. So, with this in mind, I think involving as many stakeholders to make it right, to make the right choices, to develop the right instruments that allow us to increase the prosperities of our community and our continent.
Well, you speak directly to my heart, because, as I always say, my passion about financial services is that it touches every aspect of life. There is no such thing as the real economy, because financial services are part of one economy and should serve the people, should take care of prosperity, should do their work in servicing. So, but may I ask you, which topic in all the financial services are you most passionate about?
Well, the past few years we've made a lot of progresses on new aspects of the financial world, like digital finance, green and sustainable finance. I think there are some issues that are particularly important because they are at the core of the transitions that we see in our societies. So these are some of the things that I would like. Innovation. I think that disruption that innovation is bringing in the financial services is something that we need to explore more deeply. And then more in general, the usual fights for people in this house to have a greater, more integrated capital markets union and banking union. So these are the classic, the evergreens of our debate.
If I now take it, say we have a lot of challenges because we made so much progress, as you said, when you were heading Econ. We found ways of financing a more sustainable future of our economy. We had the challenges of digital finance. But now we live in a new era. Everybody says that we're more fragmented, that the world has come a different place. What do you see as the biggest challenges in financial services in Europe?
Well, of course, as we were saying, financial services are linked to our ambitions in terms of growth, in terms of our European sovereignty. And so this means linking that to the ambition of having a more structural, a more, a stronger defense, for example, to have more investments in common goods, in infrastructure, energy. So there are many challenges that we need to pursue to make sure that our economy gets stronger and is capable of catalyzing the investments that we need. So this will require a scaling up also in the European integration and in being able to leverage the single market, having a real single market that allow us to scale up, for example. So my fears is that we cannot be content simply with some simplifications or we talk a lot about that now. It's a big challenge for the European Union now to be simpler, to support companies in being more agile, but we need also to complement that with other instruments to make the European Union more integrated and the single market a real place for growth.
We had two important reports on this.
Yes.
And the challenge is the Draghi report, which I read with pleasure. I think universally we agree on the analysis, but now, of course, the next step is to really do it, and some of the questions are with the member states. As you say, with the Capital Markets Union, the Letta report, I was very impressed that I remember one quote of Mr. Letta where he said, the single market was misunderstood when it came. Member states thought that the single market would be a place where they could sell their national products to other states. But the idea is, of course, that we need to realize that we are one, not 27. Are there any things you are preparing, of course, together with your colleagues, a response? Are there any tips that you can give, or things, the direction that you wanted to take?
Well, as I said, I think we will need to work a little bit harder and to provoke a little bit member states and ministers in the direction that you were mentioning. So starting to have a change in mindset to really look at the single market as the common place where we can all be bigger and stronger. But this requires a lot of political will. It requires action, legislative actions. In these days, we will see the Commission, launching this competitiveness compass. I think this will be an important step, but we will need to fill it with substance and real important pushes towards some of the ideas that also these reports put forward. Enrico Letta thought about this 28th regime, for example. But we need to work on these things seriously, and member states will need to realize that this is an instrument they can really use for good, and it's not an enemy of their national sovereignty, but it's an instrument to make all of us stronger.
Now, as you say, indeed, the 28th regime, we've seen other examples of that, but now it's good to analyze what went right and what went wrong when we tried it in the past, and then quickly move forward. A very interesting idea. And also simplification. As you say, many things in this house, and certainly also our financial services under your leadership, were excellent ideas to try to channel and regulate some of the parts of innovation and financial services that were needed. At the same time, with 27 member states, if you look at the end product, we sometimes have a few lines too much in legislation.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you would like to start on the simplification, or is there a broader agenda that you would like to promote?
Oh, God, my God, this is a big, big issue. So I would say that for me, in financial services, simplification goes hand in hand with some harmonization. And this touches upon many aspects. I will just mention two. One is insolvency law. That is one of the critical points in the European Union we need to work on. And the other one is taxation, because this prevents the fragmentation of different tax regimes in the member states, prevents real cross-border to promote cross-border, some products, some services. So we need to have a little bit more harmonized, I don't want to enter into the debate on, whether taxation should be sovereign at the national or European level, but at least a little bit more coordination for the financial service sector would be very, very important.
We need to look at it, and indeed, as you mentioned, insolvency law, the problem is that it takes a long time, but if you look at insolvency law around Europe, the basics are the same everywhere, the orderly wind down of a company. So it must be possible to find each other in some way. And with taxation, we don't have to go all the way. And indeed, as you say, we do not have to challenge the national sovereignty, but still to facilitate some of the things that we want to create helps immensely. So, last question on the EPFSF. Are there any things, are you looking forward to the steering committee? Are there any things that you want to do with the European Parliamentary Financial Service Forum? How can we help?
Well, I think that just enabling this dialogue and allowing everybody to be part of it, to feel part of it, and to bring this idea that you mentioned at the very beginning, that financial services is something for the people. It's not something remotely secluded. It's not a club, right? It's a platform for everybody, and to promote the prosperity of this continent, and everything that we could do together to bring this debate among all the colleagues and the stakeholders and the associations, I think will be extremely beneficial, and I will try to give my contribution to
I'm
that.
deeply grateful. I look forward for your energy, to your energy and working with you. And you already brought us the text line for the next 5 years of the European Parliamentary Financial Service Forum, and that should be to bring prosperity for everyone on this continent. Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.